So, herzlich willkommen bei der Konferenz Achtsamkeit und Migration in einer sich ständig wandelnden Welt.
Welcome to the conference, Mindfulness and Migration in a Constantly Changing World.
Ich möchte nicht lange reden. Mir ist es nur wichtig, die Gesprächspartnerinnen und Gesprächspartner vorzustellen, kurz, damit Sie einen kurzen Überblick bekommen können, wer mit welchem Hintergrund in dieses Gespräch reinkommt.
I don't want to spend a lot of time talking, but I just want to shortly introduce the speakers so you know with what kind of background they're coming into this presentation.
Zuerst möchte ich Kateryna Zeziulina aus der Ukraine vorstellen. Sie lebt derzeit in der Ostukraine. Ich habe von ihr gelesen, dass sie als Friedenspädagogin dort arbeitet und dass sie sich sehr intensiv mit dem Thema auseinandersetzt, was Friedenspädagogik denn überhaupt bedeuten kann, was jetzt gerade in der Ukraine passiert.
The first is Zeziulina, and she lives in East Ukraine, and she's focused on the peace pedagogic and what does this actually mean?
And what does it mean, especially at this time in Ukraine? So, because it's another subject than it was in another time. Ja, dann möchte ich noch Elaine Miller-Karras vorstellen. Sie lebt in Kalifornien. Und was uns ganz wichtig dabei war, und Jakob Fürst hat uns zum Glück dann nochmals darauf hingewiesen, dass wir das wirklich tun sollen, einen Menschen zu finden, der jetzt in der Ukraine ist und die Möglichkeit hat, daran teilzunehmen, weil uns auch klar ist, dass es immer schwierig ist, über andere Menschen zu sprechen, sondern viel einfacher ist es, gerade wenn es ein Unterstützungsangebot gibt, bei den Menschen, für die es gedacht ist, zu fragen, ja, passt das denn überhaupt oder wie kommt das an? Und deshalb freuen wir uns wirklich, dass Kateryna Zeziulina eine Möglichkeit gefunden hat, heute da zu sein.
And what Jacob said, it's really important that we should try to find a person in Ukraine that could take part and really tell us what's going on, because it's always difficult to talk about somebody when we're not on site there. So I think that's why we invited Kateryna. She's able to take part today.
Und an dieser Stelle möchte ich jetzt auch gleich Kateryna das Wort übergeben. Ich möchte einfach mal fragen, was du erzählen möchtest, wie das alltägliche Leben jetzt in der Ukraine aussieht. Also damit wir vielleicht ein bisschen eine Vorstellung bekommen, was das bedeuten kann, aus welchem Ort du gerade da hier jetzt teilnimmst.
And I want to give you the word, Kateryna. What you want to explain about what's going on here in Ukraine? Where are you in Ukraine? How's the situation over there?
Ingrid asked me about the situation in Ukraine right now, and I believe I have a lot of things to say, and I would really love to have a special opportunity to share with you the previous experience we have and what is the situation right now with the educational sphere. I can say that now I'm situated in Dnipro, that is eastern part of Ukraine, and for neighboring regions have either occupied by Russian troops or having active military attacks there. So far, my region and my city is totally controlled by Ukrainian army, but time to time we have missile attacks, and that's the situation that we live right now. Like during the day, there are several Syrians on outside, and we are trying to keep ourselves safe, being either inside or in the shelter. Nevertheless, it's quite hard to do this. Well, you still need to live, 74 days, you cannot hide yourself in the basement waiting for the missile. You still need to go out, you need to work, to do your normal life, do groceries. So once when I was doing grocery last week, I saw missile flying above. So that's the situation I live right now. A short reply for the question you asked right now.
Okay, das ist eine kurze Antwort. Ich bin in einer Stadt Dnipro, das ist im Osten der Ukraine, und die Gegenden ringsherum sind von russischen Soldaten und von der russischen Armee kontrolliert, besetzt. Aber unsere Region ist noch von der ukrainischen Armee kontrolliert. Und manchmal sieht man ein paar Raketen, aber man muss dann drin bleiben oder im Keller bleiben. 74 Tage schon kann man nicht einfach im Keller sich verstecken. Man muss da einkaufen gehen. Letzte Woche war ich einkaufen und da habe ich eine Rakete über mich fliegen sehen. Und das ist so die Situation im Moment.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing the situation right now in the Ukraine. I guess it's a very tough time. And yeah, and I'd like to ask Elaine.
Firstly, I want to thank Kateryna for being in Ukraine and sharing her personal experiences right now. And Kateryna, I just want you to know from all the way from California, I am giving you a virtual hug if you want to receive it. And you are always, all the Ukrainians right now are in my heart and wanting to help in whatever way possible.
Ja, Kateryna, ich weiß, was Sie durchmachen und ganz hier von Kalifornien versuche ich gebe Ihnen eine virtuelle Umarmung.
Okay, so Kateryna, please, can you continue and share your experiences?
Yeah, thank you for the floor. I would like to share some information about what was there in Ukraine before February 24 this year. Actually, Ukraine was in the process of school reform and educational reform in general, which started in 2016, and it was aimed to shift from knowledge-oriented results to competence-oriented results. So we were developing 10 competences that educational system is aimed for, and year after year, the school graduates should obtain those new competences that we were looking for in Ukrainian citizen.
Hier wollte ich Ihnen zeigen, wie das in der Ukraine war bevor 24. Februar. Wir waren gerade dabei, das haben wir angefangen 2016, das Schulsystem zu reformieren, umzuwandeln. Und wir wollten von einem wissensbasierten System auf ein kompetenzbasiertes System umschalten.
So now you see the key life competences which were listed by Ukrainian Ministry of Education, which were aimed at the primary, secondary and high school in Ukraine. As you see, there are like the 8 civic and social competences were of the focus of things that I was doing. So I'm now educational advisor on peace education and previously was working in non-formal education with young people, nowadays mostly focusing on working with teachers. So this, the competence that was one of the central competences in the educational reform in Ukraine and what I was mostly working with.
Hier sieht man die 10 Kompetenzen, die man einführen wollte. Und es gilt für die Grundschule bis zur Highschool. Und das ist, was ich gemacht hatte. Und da war ich Beraterin und ich bin heutzutage die Lehrberaterin. Und diese Nummer 8, das ist eine Zentralkompetenz, wo ich jetzt dran arbeite.
So there you see competences that includes human rights education, wealth and healthy lifestyle, something that Elaine was mentioning today, ideas of democracy, justice, tolerance, anti-discrimination, equal rights. So those were the focus of my work before the war.
Okay, das waren, wie Sie sehen, Menschenrechte und gesundes Leben und soziale Kompetenzen mit Demokratie verbunden, um Justiz, um Gerechtigkeit, und das ist mein Fokus.
So all those parts of the competence were very much connected to the topic of culture of peace and peace education in general. So when we were developing and promoting peace education in Ukraine for the last 3 years, we were taking in mind this culture of peace. So developing the competences that will let people live in peace for like sustainably, let's say. And when we were talking about peace, we were mentioning two types of peace. And the one that we were aimed by our program and the activities that we were developing in Ukraine, it was positive peace. So it's developing the attitudes, institutes, and structure that create peaceful societies that are stable. So this is what we were aiming for, and trying to avoid understanding of peace as a negative peace. So negative peace could be understood as absence of violence. So we were saying that we are not like aiming at absence of violence only, but we were aiming at developing some competences that would let our society live in peaceful life for the long duration of time.
Was mit der Friedensbildung zu tun hat. Wir wollten eine Kultur von Frieden errichten und wir wollten diese Kompetenzen entwickeln, dass man nachhaltig im Frieden leben kann. Das sind so die Einstellungen, die Institutionen, die Strukturen, die dann diese nachhaltige Gesellschaft kreieren kann. Und wir wollten nicht einfach einen negativen Frieden haben, wo man einfach sagt, okay, es gibt keine Gewalt. Wir wollten das wirklich nachhaltig machen.
Mm-hmm. And what were the steps we could take, what methods we could develop or share with the teachers and then bring back to school to our pupils? So here you see this kind of umbrella approach of peace education. We say that there is no one peace education approach, but rather different methods and different approaches that we bring together under this umbrella of peace education, and that we were sharing with Ukrainian teachers in Ukrainian school, develop different projects in Ukraine.
Wir haben gesagt, okay, das sind die Schritte hier. Wir wollten Schritte, Methoden entwickeln mit Lehrern, die diese Methoden dann den Kindern beibringen können. Da gibt es aber nicht eine einzelne Angehensweise. Wir haben zusammen mit diesen ukrainischen Lehrern gearbeitet in den Schulen und Sie sehen hier die Punkte, worauf wir fokussieren wollten.
So we were, for example, developing skills of teachers how to use nonviolent communication in their schools. We were trying to bring in mediation to schools to let students solve their problems, like their own conflicts, by peer mediation. We were talking about CE learning and promoting CE learning in schools, like letting young people to learn about their emotions and try to communicate them quite well. So that was we were doing before the war.
Okay, wir wollten die Fähigkeiten entwickeln, dass die ohne Gewalt die Kommunikation ohne Gewalt, dass die Studenten auch untereinander ihre Probleme lösen können, ohne Gewalt. Wir haben auch diese C-Lernen eingeführt und dass sie auch die Kinder, die Studenten umgehen können mit deren Emotionen.
Now you see the drawing of a 7-year-old Vika from Kherson, which is now occupied since first days, so now for 70 days occupied by Russian troops. And this is the picture that Vika drew by herself, showing the reality she lives now. So for now, it's 74 schools destroyed totally in Ukraine. 700 of them are damaged. Around 1,200 schools or educational institutions are on the occupied territories. So this is the situation we have right now, and that's the reality we have. So here you see the library of Chernihiv that was bombed, and this building was a historical building. It survived the Second World War, and now it's totally destroyed by Russian troops. Here you see the professor of Uzhhorod University that is now a soldier of Ukrainian army, but he didn't let his students away. So he is making a lecture, being there on the front line and protecting the country, and also making online lectures for his students. Here you see an 8-year-old boy that fled from Mariupol. Like when I look at his eyes, I don't believe that he is just a kid. He's a person that survived and learned and had such experience in his life that I believe that I didn't have in my life. We were talking about toys for the kids. Yes, we are lucky that lots of kids were fled with their mothers and they are in safe now. I'm really thankful for everyone who is making efforts to protect those women and kids in Europe, but we still have kids, they were under shelling and they have the reality that everything is destroyed around them. So this is a kid that was born in 2014, the first stage of Ukrainian-Russian war. And now the war came to his home and destroyed everything that he has around. And this is the toy he's playing now. This is a 4-year-old girl, Alisa from Mariupol. 2 days ago, she was evacuated from Azovstal, the factory where civilians were hiding from Russian shelling for more than 2 months. And she was there with her mother, that is medicine. And when the UN evacuation operation came there, they could take only Alisa because her mother was stopped at the filtration camp of Russian troops. Imagine, it's 21st century and we still have filtration camps. That is unbelievable, you know. I still can't believe that it's happened now. So 4-year-old girl, she was taken by other adults to another region and we don't know what's happening with her mother, as she has some information being medicine there, so helping injured soldiers. She might be taken and never let go by the Russian soldiers. So that's, I would say, quite hard and dangerous situation that we have now. And I would say that there is not that many understanding of what will happen now. So how the educational year will start. So far, the Minister of Education in Ukraine stated that safety is over any marks or results of educational year and so on. So they decided to shorten the educational year for the old schools in Ukraine. And they also simplified the graduation exams for the students in order to, I don't know, save their resources, their mental health and so on. Nevertheless, we still keep on thinking how to help the students, but also the teachers, and think how to start a next educational year. So far, it's quite hard to understand what will be next. Do we have enough opportunity to actually survive, to keep the territory, to keep the people alive? Will the educational year start online or offline? Do we have enough schools to bring kids there? Do we have enough teachers that didn't fled Ukraine but still in Ukraine and is able to work? But moreover, I think now it's not even the major thing is not that much the science or the competences or I don't know, the marks that teachers and pupils will get, but rather how healthy will be all the members of educational process. When I say healthy, I mean both physically and mentally. So people that survived the situation and still is very with unknown future, they really need support. They need to learn how to explain to children what is war, how to react on this, how to justify the losses they have. And all of this, it's quite difficult task for a grown-up, but for an adult, but also for an adult that survived the same situation with the same kids because we were in the same country. So those are the tasks that are in front of Ukrainian educational system. I know that right now there are some attempts in making changes into educational program to make more focus on civic competences, to think how to, for example, again, how to talk about history, how to justify or how to explain some things in history, or what skills to develop in pupils. When we were working with teachers recently, we were asking, so what are your needs for now? Lots of them were not even talking about their psychological or mental health, because I'm not sure if they are able to learn something right now, but they were rather saying that we need some information about how to protect our students from mines. There are a lot of regions that were shelled with such missiles that spread bombs around. And now kids could go outside, pick a bomb and bring it to home and just make an explosion. So that caused several children deaths already in Ukraine. So some things that we were not expecting, or we were not aiming, or not even imagining in our future, they totally changed our life. So we were developing peace education, thinking about positive peace, thinking about what competence we can develop in our kids to make them find a common ground, talk the same language, love other people, stop discrimination, and so on. And now we need to think about peace education as something that could protect the lives. Now we teach children what types of missiles they are, like how they can protect themselves, or what to pick or what not to pick outside when you go to the nature. So those are quite big challenges that we are facing right now. And I think that some competences that were developed before, some understanding of what is resilience, what is emotions, how to cope, how to understand what is happening is quite important. And I believe it really helps our teachers, the ones that we were working with. Nevertheless, the first thing that should be done is to bring safety, to bring physical safety to the cities, towns, to make a school that has a roof, that has walls, that has tables to learn and to sit in. So I'm really thankful for all the people who are supporting Ukraine right now. And I'm looking forward for next cooperation and maybe some ideas how to bring, I don't know, for example, art therapy, some coping strategies, some other methods that were already developed somewhere abroad to bring to Ukraine to help teachers to overcome this trauma together with the children.
Thank you very much, Kateryna, for this presentation and for this insights. We cannot imagine, even because we never experienced war, so we just maybe can get an idea of what it means to be a teacher and to care for children, even if their own life is not secure at the moment. So, thank you very much.
Soll ich kurz mal die Hauptpunkte?
Ja. Okay. Ja, bitte.
Die Hauptpunkte sind, so viele Schulen wurden zerstört oder 74 Schulen zerstört, 700 beschädigt, 1100 Institutionen, Lehrinstitutionen sind jetzt unter Besatzung. Und jetzt hat das Land sich entschieden, die Bildungsministerin, dass die Sicherheit muss das Erste sein. Was ist wichtiger jetzt, wichtiger als Noten? Und die haben dann entschieden, das Schuljahr zu kürzen und die Abschlussprüfung leichter zu machen, weil man kann jetzt nicht an Prüfungen denken, wenn man sowas im Kopf hat, Krieg und so. Aber dann fragt man sich, haben wir überhaupt genug Lehrer? Wie geht es weiter? Und wir müssen dann auch den Kindern beibringen, diese Friedensbildung, aber auch was für Raketen, was für Waffen liegen da, woher weiß ich, ob das jetzt gefährlich ist oder nicht und so. Und das ist dann immer so wichtig.
Yeah, for me, I really get an understanding how your 3 point of views, how your work is really connected and it needs each other. So the projects that are offered at the moment really can exist. And that they can be of use. I really would like to invite you to ask any questions. Give us a time for questioning ourselves and the others, and maybe there are ideas for answering. Yes, please. Yeah, Valentina.
Thank you. Well, first I wanted to thank the 3 presenters of this part of the session. because it's something that really touches me. I can feel related with Kateryna in what she's experiencing now.
Thank you very much, Valentina, for your comment and your words. Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's, for me, I can understand it quite well. And yeah, for me, it's also the questions, how is possible to bring learning in schools? And also what you mentioned, I think, Jakob, that it's necessary before a conflict starts. Or it not always must be a war. It's a conflict or something's not so good in a society. And yeah, when we can start before, then then we will have much more possibilities when the situation gets more difficult. Okay, thank you. Is there any other question?
Hi, Ingrid.
Yeah. Hi, Assad.
How are you? This is Assad Munzer. I'm from the North Carolina and USA. I talked yesterday about mindfulness, and I loved every presentation today. It was so nice, and right in line of I'm also the district chair of the Peace Committee in our Rotary Club, which is interesting because I didn't know they're going to fit together today. So it's wonderful, and I'm from Lebanon originally, and we had a war in Lebanon for a long time and a lot of refugees and problems. So I understand exactly what everyone is talking about, and it's such a wonderful experience. I just want to thank Ingrid for letting me participate, and I would like to stay in touch, of course, with most of you and keep communicating and probably invite you, to be speakers in our Rotary clubs. And that would be nice to introduce our Rotary members, to problems that most Americans are not aware of because they haven't lived a war, they haven't had problems, like some other countries are experiencing. And but they are more and more aware now. Actually, this Sunday we had a picnic for the Afghan refugees, which are here in the Charlotte area. So they are working with the refugees, and we are learning more and more about positive peace and negative peace. Kateryna was talking about that, so that's a great knowledge and great education. So thank you very much.
Ja, ich bin Assad Munzer, ich komme aus Charlotte, North Carolina und bin der Regionsvorstand von der Friedenspädagogik und vom Rotary Club, und ich komme ursprünglich aus Lebanon und ich kann das nachvollziehen. Wir haben viele Jahre Krieg da gehabt, immer noch, und ja, Ingrid, Dankeschön, dass Sie mich auch eingeladen haben, und ich würde Sie gerne auch vielleicht alle von Ihnen oder einige einladen, bei unserem Rotary Club zu sprechen. Die meisten Amerikaner sind nicht diese Probleme nicht bewusst, was wir jetzt in Europa oder in anderen Ländern haben, aber bisschen jeden Tag mehr und mehr, man wird mehr bewusst darüber. Und wir haben letzte Woche haben wir da mit einer afghanischen Gruppe geredet und haben auch gelernt über positive und negative Frieden, was Kateryna Zeziulina gesagt hat. Und ja, aber vielen Dank dazu.
Thank you, Assad, for your words and for sharing this information. This really could open another possibility, maybe for cooperation or something like this, or just for connection and learning from each other. That's already a lot. So are there any comments of you? Yeah, Gabriele.
I just wanted to confirm that the C-Learning program is really a curriculum with high quality and very easy to implement, and we should implement it on national level in all countries, at least in Europe. But no, let's start for us in Austria. And let's be a little bit more realistic than my dreams are. And but it is, when I heard first from Jakob that the Ukraine was implementing it, and then the bomb started and the invasion started, I was crying at home, because I said, I mean, every war is not just, of course, but that the Ukraine, who is really on the way to teach peace, is now invaded by the enemy. I mean, that's what a catastrophe, and it's unbelievable. So, as Jakob said, we are full of questions on the one hand, but we are deeply, deeply touched, and yeah, we have to learn to stay with it. That's the first step. To name it, to stay with it, to be compassionate, to be self-compassionate, because when you learn this, then I think we can think about what to do. But first we have to deal with our feelings.
Could I also add, thank you so much. It was such a beautiful statement. But I want to alert you all, if you're not familiar with it, and I'll put it in the chat, of Catalyst 2030. Catalyst 2030 is a international convocation of social entrepreneurs that are working on an international level and trying to deal with the problems of our planet. And they happen to be having their events this week as well. And on Friday, there is a convocation, and it will be, I'm one of the presenters, but I think the important thing about it is that there's funders that are present that want to look at how do we fund innovation and change. Certainly C-Learning is one of those. But I think that if we can gather this kind of energy that I'm just hearing from some of the comments here, and you can just go to Catalyst 2030 and become a member, I really encourage you to do that.